Hey everyone, it's Daniel here from etfs. Hope you're all doing well. So let's talk about New Zealand. New Zealand was the first to hike interest rates ahead of all the central banks out there, the first one to combat inflation or try to combat inflation at least by hiking rates and sounding more hawkish and aggressive. And it's the first now to release that it's officially in a recession. The official definition of a recession is when you get contracting GDP for 2 consecutive quarters. And that's what New Zealand got. Now I'll link a article for you to read up on this whole recession that the New Zealand is facing. It comes out from Bloomberg. You can see it in the description. I'll put the link there. But this article goes on to say that, yes, New Zealand was the first one to begin raising rates when inflation surged after the pandemic, with the Reserve Bank delivering 5.25% percentage points of hikes. It now sits around 5.5%, which is higher than the Fed, although the Fed did mention that it's going to come back to raising rates. It just paused, or I don't know if you want to use that word because Jerome Powell said he doesn't like using that word. So let's call it a skip. So the FOMC skipped rates in the last meeting, and they're expected to hike in July another 25 basis points and another one soon in the next meeting, and reaching basically a level of around 5.5%, maybe close to 5.75%. Now, what's very interesting is that even though New Zealand was the first one to hike rates, and it was the first one to call that it's in a recession, it was the yield curve, the bond market in the US, that was the first to invert, and then New Zealand and then UK, which basically, when the yield curve in the bond market inverts, it signals to you that, hey, you're getting that recession, a recession is coming soon, and you got the signal first in the US, then in New Zealand, which is really, really interesting, even though New Zealand was the first to hike rates. Now, with New Zealand coming out and saying that, hey, we're in a recession and blah, 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 it doesn't mean that, okay, tomorrow we're going to see complete collapse and everything is going to be, end of the world. No, it's the recession takes time. And take, for example, 2008 as an example, right? The yield curve inverted around, let's say 2006, late 2006, 2007. I don't remember exactly, don't quote me exactly, but let's just say 2007, right? And rates were starting to go up in 2006. Some people knew there was a big issue with the mortgages and the frauds that were happening in the US with mortgages and people getting easy access to mortgages that created this bubble in the real estate market. But the actual collapse happened until September of 2008. And in that time in 2008, you had the stock market rallying in May and eventually paused, and it kind of toppled and slowed down in May. And then September, you finally had the final blow. And before that, you had some banking issues, which was then brushed off, like we're seeing today in this year, where we had the regional bank issues, and then that's have completely brushed off. It'll be very interesting to see, with all the tightening that's happened, what comes next. Is this going to be the same playbook as 2008? Again, it takes time. It takes time for the recession to hit. Yes, you're in a recession, but yes, GDP numbers can come back up. Growth numbers can do better all over again, but does not signal that you are out of the woods. It's completely over. The recession is done with, and we can go to drinking martinis and sitting on the beach. No, that's not the case. It can come back, and it can get worse, actually. And it doesn't have to get worse next day, next week, next month. It could take months. It could take a year for this to play out. But you're seeing the red flags, you're seeing the red signals, the signals there, whether it's from UK with its high inflation, its pension fund issues that happen. Now, New Zealand reporting about this recession that's occurring, and then the Fed going back to hiking rates. Canada as well was in pause mode, going back to hiking rates. This can all come back and pinch the consumers and the businesses, which can lead to a massive credit contraction and then things really blowing up, just like in September of 2008. Things were fine 2006, 2007. There is this recession coming. The yield curve is inverted. Why is it taking so long? And then late in 2008, September, that's when the final blow happened. And again, you can get the same playbook. Maybe the past doesn't exactly mimic the present, but it often rhymes. So very interesting article here. Read up on this article that comes out from Bloomberg. I'll link it in the description. And let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below. Subscribe. Hit the like button, the bell icon to be notified on the next video. And I'll see you guys around. Cheers. Bye.